Dear friends, welcome to yet another installment of Strategic Power. In this video, we discover that Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, and even Jordan, an Arab Muslim country, secretly helped Israel defend itself from an Iranian attack. But why did these Arab nations, traditionally enemies of Israel, suddenly join forces to defend it? Will this be the new normal in the Middle East? Discover the surprising motives that led to this unlikely alliance in this video. Subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss upcoming episodes. When Iran launched its attack, one thing caught the attention of many observers. Jordan managed to shoot down Iranian drones and missiles. Interestingly, Jordan, being an Arab Muslim nation, took steps to protect Israel, a country with a history of conflicts with the Palestinians. Can you imagine the domestic issues this raises? That's why Jordan is acting as if its help was not so significant. Yesterday we faced some flying objects that invaded our airspace, and we intercepted them to prevent any threat to the security of our citizens and residential areas. Debris fell in several areas during this incident, but there was no damage or injuries among citizens. Jordan is trying to make it clear that it was only defending itself, not helping Israel. We'll see if this explanation convinces. However, Jordan is not alone in this. Other Arab countries have also helped Israel, albeit more discreetly. There are reports that Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates were involved. They shared intelligence about the Iranian attack. And that's not all. These Arab nations also opened their airspace, allowing Britain and the United States, Israel's allies, to defend it. They also provided Western air defense systems, surveillance, and tanker aircraft. All of this would have been used to protect Israel. So most Arab countries helped protect Israel from Iran. But we must highlight one more point here. This was not a betrayal of the Iranians or the Muslim cause in general. It was nothing like that. Iran wanted the Arab countries to pass this information to the United States. Iran likely expected the attack to fail. As we mentioned earlier, the attack was a matter of keeping up appearances, of putting on a good show for the domestic audience. Iran does not want an all-out war with Israel. If it did, it would have attacked long ago. Iran had to react to the destruction of its embassy in Syria. Plus, they needed to make sure the attack did not cause major damage to Israel. And how to do that? By pre-informing about the attack through Arab channels. It seems the plan worked. Iran can say it attacked. Israel did not suffer major damage. The United States can say it protected its ally. And the Arab countries, except Jordan, can pretend they had no involvement. Everyone wins, except the Iranian, Israeli, and American taxpayers. After all, they paid for the fireworks show. But in the end, taxpayers always lose out. Everyone else comes out victorious. But how did we get to this situation? How are Arab nations suddenly helping the Israelis, who until a few years ago were considered mortal enemies? It all comes down to self-interest. Most Arab states are wealthy. Take Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates, for example. They make billions from oil. They already have gigantic skyscrapers and sports cars adorning almost every street. These countries want to invest their wealth in development or prepare for a post-oil future, like Saudi Arabia, which is building futuristic cities and acquiring entire sports teams. These prosperous Arab states do not want to be harmed, especially by a war between two of their former enemies. If war breaks out, it will be total chaos. Arab airspace will frequently be compromised. Stray armaments will damage their infrastructure, and their air bases will be constantly used by the United States, making them targets. It will be next to impossible for the Arab nations to avoid being dragged into this conflict. Thus, they prefer to avoid war altogether and focus on improving their own nations. They have been trying to do this for years. The United Arab Emirates and Bahrain took a historic step by recognizing Israel in 2020, following the US-led Abraham Accords. It took years of diplomacy to reach this milestone and reduce tensions between Israel and Arab countries. Many hoped Saudi Arabia would follow suit, but those hopes were dashed this past October when the Hamas attack and subsequent war between Israel and Hamas occurred. Now, an all-out war between Israel and Iran would be even worse. It would undo all the plans the wealthy Arab nations had laid out, so these countries will do everything possible to avoid war at all costs. Iran launched a direct attack from its own territory against Israel. After a detailed analysis of the events, it is clear that we are witnessing a significant shift in the geopolitical landscape of the Middle East. Despite being traditionally rivals, Arab countries like Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, and even Jordan appear to have secretly joined forces to help Israel defend itself from an Iranian attack. This unlikely alliance reveals that strategic and security interests are overriding decades of political and religious antagonism in the region. What has led to this surprising turn? It can be argued that these wealthy and powerful Arab countries realized that a direct confrontation between Israel and Iran would pose a threat to their own economic and security interests. An open war in the region could compromise their airspace, infrastructure, and even drag them directly into the conflict, something they clearly want to avoid. That's why they have opted for a pragmatic approach, establishing channels of cooperation with Israel, their former enemy, to contain Iranian ambitions. This new, tactical alliance allows them to maintain a public appearance of neutrality while working behind the scenes to prevent a devastating confrontation. Will this trend of prioritizing pragmatic interests over traditional political and religious identities continue to shape the dynamics of the Middle East? And to what extent will this new regional order be able to contain tensions between Israel and Iran, avoiding a large-scale war? Share your perspectives in the comments below. This is a fundamental discussion for understanding the geopolitical currents of the region.